Hello, Flosstube. My name is Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, and this is my Flosstube update number 108. Today is Saturday, March 14th, and this is a channel about cross-stitch. Last week, as I was winding up, I was thinking, I know there's something I'm forgetting. And what I forgot was, I was wearing this green T-shirt last week, and the reason that I was wearing it was I meant to show this this logo. It says Beethoven. He's wearing sunglasses. Beethoven and blue jeans, and it says y'all on the bottom, and it's got some. These are viola clefs for those of you who our musicians might know. Anyway, this little logo, this T-shirt, is worn by the Arkansas Symphony when the orchestra does the Beethoven and Blue Jeans concert, and I had mentioned that last month that my friend Carol, who is one of the co-concertmasters in the orchestra, he came out here to play with the Arizona Music Fest, and my younger sister, used to work for them, so she knows all those people. And so anyway, between her and me and Carol, we arranged to meet for lunch while he was up here, and so he brought me that T-shirt. I had a whole bunch of them. I don't know if I still have them or not, but I had a whole bunch of T-shirts from the Beethoven and Blue Jeans concerts we used to do, because the orchestra would wear a T-shirt like that and blue jeans, and then we would have a Beethoven program, and like a street fest and this and that and the other. So it was all a good time. So anyway, so he brought me the T-shirt, which is very nice of him. Anyway, so like I said, this is a channel about cross stitch, and so that's what we're going to talk about. I had mentioned last week that we had opened the Etsy shop, and there were only a couple of items on there, 3 items, I think. One of them is, if you go to Three Sisters Creative, which is the name of the shop, one of the things that's on there is an example of portrait painting that my sister does. So like if you were to send in, if you wanted a portrait of your mother or your father or whatever, and you had a picture to send in, you could send in a snapshot, and she could make a painting of it. And on the Etsy shop, there's a picture of a portrait she did of my brother-in-law from a photograph. So that's there for you to look at if you want to have her do something like that for you. You can check that out. And then also on the website is the 10 minutes to midnight chart, and one of the what we're calling the Chore flips chart. And I realized this week while I was looking at other things that I don't think the chart size is of those 2 charts is mentioned on the Etsy shop, but but I have them here. The Chore flips are all about the same size. So the stitch count, and I wrote it down, and later on we're going to add this, I think, to the details of it might be in the chart, it might be on the chart, the stitch count and the finished things. I just saw them on the charts that I had been working on, that because they're done in PC Stitch. So that might be on there. When you download the PDF, it might say on there. But just to elaborate, I think these are about, I don't know what, 2.5 by 2.5. I know that when I put the stitch count in the little stitch calculator thing on, I think it's on crossstitch.com. I don't know. But anyway, the top part of this is similar in size to the one that I'm working on, which is the homework chore flip. So the top part is about 33 by 20, and the bottom part is about 33 by 69. You know, this is because this is all one piece. It's just flipped over the chart, and then you fold it in half and make the bottom part. So I have, like, here I have the top part. So it is about, you know, when it's all done, this top part, I can't fold it right. You know, it's small. You know, like, you know, it's two something by probably 2 inches, or not quite 2 inches, you know, high. And like I said, I'm working right now. I'm working on the bottom part of this little flip thing, the homework flipping. So the oopsie, the top part says not done, and there's a pencil, not a pen. I guess it's a pen, or I don't know what. But it says, yeah, not done. And then the second half will be like it will be upside down with this. It says done, so that when you can fold it in half. But the other side has like a baseball bat, a baseball game controller, a skateboard. You know, things that that a kid would do recreationally when their homework is done. So anyway, that's the idea behind that. And then the 10 minutes to midnight, the stitch count it's about 100 this way and 77 that way. And that's the size of the grid, it says on the little chart. So I don't know if that counts the blank lines above and below the chart when you as it was done on the computer, or it counts the actual. Cause I think the actual stitches, not counting the blank lines, that are on the edge of the chart, make it like less than 100. Make it like 90 something, and the same thing this way. But yeah, and so its finished size is about 6.5 by 5 ish. So yeah, that's the size of that stitch piece. So I just wanted to mention that in case you were wondering about the dimensions, the size of the chart. 6.5 roughly by 5 roughly. 100 by 77. And like I said, all these little chore flip things are about the same size. So, the other thing I want to talk about that will eventually be in the Etsy shop, I think, is last year, I think I finished it sometime before April, of last year, because I took it with me to the little brag table thing we had at Stitch Nanigans. So I think I finished it during the, like in September or thereabouts of 2017, I think. Yeah. But I had worked on this little, Oops, it's upside down. This sampler thing that I just made up. It's my own original design. But there were things about it that, that I wasn't real happy with when I did it. Mostly like these blocks of, it's supposed to be water. Uh-oh. And this block of grass, I kind of like it and I kind of don't, but, this one sheep wandering off. And again, this block of water and this chain. It was supposed to be a fettered heart. It was like very literal interpretation, but I like the designs in general, and I love this particular hymn, "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing," and this is a little a line from that with the music staff and these flying angels, and there are various things I like about it, except that it's all. Like I said, the images are all very, very literal, and they're all on one side, basically. This side, it's like a, what is it? Like a left justified typing, But anyway, but also this alphabet I got from a book of alphabets. So it's not my own design. So I want to redo it with an original alphabet and some different designs, like for the water, for the border, the images that are on here, I kind of like. I think I just want to do something different, but it's a very large undertaking, and I love this. What I came up with for this, wandering, sheep or whatever. But I just want to do the alphabet differently, and maybe perhaps do some of these images, do the water differently, do the fountain up at the top a little bit differently, just so that I don't know. But anyway, so I want to, when I have redone those details, to offer this on the Etsy shop as well. So hopefully in the future I will get to that. It took me a while to find the chart where where I had drawn it out, because I did it all by hand back in those days. It was before I got PC Stitch. So I want to sit at the computer and go over it and find, like I said, figure out my own font to use for the alphabet, and do something different with the fountain and the water borders and blah blah blah. But that means that then if in order to have a model version of it, then I have to stitch it, and it's pretty big, as it is now. If I can make the words smaller, then the overall design will be smaller. But that just, the only problem is that I have a fairly limited imagination, especially compared to like my sisters. But so it takes me longer to think about these things, so yeah. So, but I do want to put that on the Etsy shop eventually. It's just that, yeah, it's one of those things. So this week, what I worked on was this little homework design. This is one of the things that I did this week, and it wouldn't have been so hard, except that, like, one of the things that I did was my sister and I had her talk about this D and this N, about how they were done, and what I ended up doing was doing just two threads, because I was already, I was doing this with 2 threads. This is 2/2 on, I think, copy or tea-dyed fabric. I don't remember what this is. I don't think I have it written down, but anyway, it's just like an even weave, but I don't know what kind of cloth it is. There's a cat being naughty. Anyway, so but the way it was designed, the N wasn't showing up very well. And so in talking with my sister and having her, and trying a couple different things, we finally settled on, it's 2 strands of backstitch here, just between the uprights of the N and on the corners of the D to make it look a little more like a D. But anyway, so I worked on this a couple of days this week, and I have this in my little project bag sent to me by Ruth. I worked on the Gnome Biscornu from Tinymodernist. Pull that out again carefully here. The Gnome Biscornu. And so I'm working on this back half now, on this little floral motif here. Stay. So yeah, there's the front, and there's the back here. So I had done last week. I had done this part of the border till I ran out of thread here, and I started on this. So this is just the one color of it's a coral color, I think is the name of it in DMC. So there's another color and of this red pinky color. It's I think one of these other ones is here. And yellow. There's some yellow I think in the center, and then 2 little yellow things, just like these flowers. These little yellow dot things are on these tulips here. And then I did the green, and then there's, I think, some green backstitched stems connecting these, I believe, yeah, stems on all these 3 flowers are done with just a backstitch line. And then, like I said, there's a couple of colors in here, in that flower. And so then this is the beginning of the second one. And then I have to, stitch across here and move my hoop over to get the other 2 corners. I want to go ahead and finish this, these 2, and get the other colors in and get the back stitching in, and then before I move over and do the other half. But so there's the Gnome Biscornu. I just worked on it, I think just 2 days this week because I was working on I spent 2 days working on the believe it or not, on the homework thing. I just did a little bit of stitching. I didn't spend that much time doing it. But the other thing I worked on, and I worked on most several days this past week, was this spring delivery. This big bunny and his basket of chicks. And so yeah, so the bunny I finished, except for his eye up here. And I did his bow tie and his ears, and you can just see his nose because it's basically the same shade as the fabric. I didn't really think about that, but so then his tummy is like a grayish color, and then he has a key in his hand, and then the big basket of chicks goes over here. Oh no, wait, am I holding it right? yeah, and then he has a little pipe, and there's some numbers up here and things like that, some other little motifs. But yeah, so I got the big bunny done, and in this case, the design calls for is it Classic Colorworks, Color and Cotton, whatever that CC stands for. I always forget. Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works, and one DMC color. So I did it also has a DMC conversion listed. So I took those DMC colors in my DMC book, and then compared the existing Weeks Dye Works colors that I had for it, and used that comparison with the DMC book to choose Weeks Dye Works colors. So it was a convoluted process, but I picked, like I said, from my Weeks Dye Works stash. So these are the colors that I was using. So I used this, yeah, chestnut was the color of his body, and then I just did two little other colors. That was this blue heron was his bow tie, and hibiscus I used for the inside of his ears and the one stitch of his nose. But so yeah, so these are the other colors that I'm going to use. Along with that one, there's one DMC color that's used for the feet of the chicks. Anyway, so that was all I worked on this week. Just those three things were all that I did any stitching on this week. And then on Tuesday, I went to the attic, and I always go, if I had waited a few days, and gone, a couple of days later, because it was right after market when we went, and they were there, like filling. They had like everything laid out, and they were filling pre-orders and whatever. So they hadn't yet put out anything that they had ordered, that the shop had ordered for the public. They had not yet put those out. So all the new market releases were still being sorted and put out or whatever, to be put out yet. So yeah, so I went basically too early. I should have waited a few days at least, maybe a week, maybe next week to go. But anyway, so while I was there, I did get a few things. So, see, let me move these out of the way. So I got a little pair of scissors. I haven't taken the label off of them yet, but so I got a little pair of scissors because, not as if I don't have. Hold on a minute, please. Okay, sorry about that. Like I said, I got a pair of scissors at the attic because, can have a bazillion pairs. But that way I have one in every, project thing. And I went ahead and bought, I bought one of these zipper tote project bags. This is a larger one. It's a little bit, it's larger than a regular chart. But I figure, what the heck. And, because I wanted to get one of these, and they had this size, and they had little, like, accessory pouch sizes, little bitty ones. And they had a couple of other bigger ones, but they were like, there was one that was like a vinyl bag, like the one I showed a couple weeks ago that I had bought at Joann's or Hobby Lobby or somewhere. And they had those that were, they were just like the average size of most project bags, but they were actually more expensive than this one. This one was pretty inexpensive, and they had some other larger ones that were like, in the $30 range. I think this was like $6.50. So I just went ahead and got this because I figure it's good for larger larger, probably like larger projects, like with more fabric or something like that. So actually, I might use it for the big sampler that I was working on, because it's also good for like, you know, printed 8x10 sheets, you know, out of the printer. So, oh, and then the other thing I got there was this tool called the Purple Thang with an A. But it has like a little pointy tip here, so you can use it like for turning something out, you know, when you're going to stuff it, you know, to turn it to make those pointy, sharp corners. Right now, you know, I'm using my that wooden stuffing tool that's pointy in the end. It's not quite this pointy. It's you know, the point is kind of rounded or blunted, but this one also has like a square tip or whatever, and then it has like a hole so you can like wear it, you know, on a lanyard or whatever. But it has this curved tip so that you can, you know, get leverage and all that. So anyway, so I bought this. I think I had heard about these or seen them or something, but yeah, so I got that. And then I got a couple of Brenda Gervais charts, and you know, I've seen the question come up on occasion on different channels of where people have asked, you know, well, who's your favorite designer or whatever, and since, you know, I've never really paid attention to designer names all the years that I was cross stitching, and then, you know. And then I, like I said, I was, you know, I did it a little bit here and there, after I had started learning, you know, in the 80s and 90s and whatever, and 2000s. But it wasn't until like 2017, 16 or 17, 16 probably, in the fall, that I discovered Flosstube. And then all of a sudden, everybody was talking about different designers, you know, Lizzie Kate, Brenda Gervais, blah, blah, blah. And posting all these different, you know, charts that it seemed like everybody knew who they were, you know, except me. I didn't know. So, so I didn't have, you know, a favorite designer. Like I said, I had never really paid attention to designer names. And so... So it took me a while to sort of decide, you know, hey, I really like that, I really like this, I really like this, and, you know, find out, oh, these are all the same designer, or, you know, or what it is that I like to do. Like some people, like Caroline, a lot of the pieces that she does are these geometric designs and very intricate, you know, things, and while those are lovely, they don't necessarily appeal to me. And samplers in general are I think they're really beautiful. Like the one that Beth Twist did for Nashville this year. The one about the lilies of the field. You know, consider the lilies of the field. They don't toil nor spin, whatever. That's not the quote that she uses exactly, but that's the verse that it's from. But she, but so yeah, it's lovely. It's huge, it's gigantic, and while I appreciate the artistry in those samplers, especially when you consider the ones that were done years, you know, centuries ago, that were done by young girls, you know, 8, 10, 12 years old, and you think, gosh, what was I doing at that age, you know? But like I said, I love the artistry that goes into those, and in the reproductions, and in the new original ones. Teresa Kogut came up with some beautiful ones this year for market, but and while some of them, you know, I might want to do some of them, as a rule, samplers generally, again, I can admire the beauty and the artistry of them, but I don't necessarily feel compelled to stitch them myself. So what I've found that I really like are animal designs, like the ones. There's one that the rue that's one of the stackable things. I don't remember if it's Plum Street Samplers or is it Brenda Gervais? I don't know. But it's the two kangaroos. The Roo Crew, I think it's called. There's the one kangaroo on top of another kangaroo, and there's a little baby Joey kangaroo sticking out of the pouch. I love that. Anyway, but I found that I like a lot of Brenda Gervais designs. Both her Christmas things and her animal designs and all that. So I think Brenda Gervais is my actual favorite designer. So while I was at the attic, then I got a couple of older Brenda Gervais patterns. Excuse me. That I've seen them on here on Flosstube that other people have worked on, and so I got, this is a very dark picture, Winterberry cabin, which I just love that. I love Santa's hat right there. There's the little snowman there in the sled. Let me get this out of the plastic bag because it's very glary. Sorry. And and I didn't get these are kitted in like fancy floss kind of things, and I did not get the flosses to go with them, and I don't think I have any of these colors that are, so I don't know. There, that's a little bit better without all the glare. So yeah, there's little houses and trees and a moon and this little border and big Santa. I like his hat a lot. And there's a little snowman down there. And some more houses and trees. Anyway, it's really pretty. And I like that. I like that design a lot. So I got that. And sorry, let me stick that back in there before I lose it, before the cats lose it. And the other one I got was one of the holiday Hoopla designs. This is another Brenda Gervais design with needle and thread. Sorry. I cannot get this out. Sorry. There you go. This one with the snowman on it. And I don't know that I want to finish it in a hoop like that, but I like that. I like the little pinky cheeks and his little carrot nose and his little twiggy arms. It's very cute, very cute. So anyway, that's the holiday Hoopla Christmas design. Yeah. So these are older Brenda Gervais designs, and I want to look at all the new National Market things. But in a way, I'm glad they weren't all there because, I would have spent way more money. As it was, these were kind of expensive charts to get, and, wasn't money I was planning to spend necessarily, but I don't begrudge myself the money or the designers. That's what they're there for, to design things that we want to buy and stitch. So anyway, I think that is, no, the other thing I got in haul was, again, I talked about last week how my sister was sort of going through all her stash of stuff and giving me all her cross-stitch stuff. all or most of her cross stitch stuff. So she gave me. Let's see if I got this all organized right. She had a little plastic box. This one has a handle, which is kind of swanky. I don't know where she got this box from, but it comes with a little, chart so you can, I guess, put what all's in it. But so this is the chart. The threads for. I think for that. No, not the Santa kit. I had that. This is just I think her DMC stash that she had for some other her other projects that she was working on. But so yeah, because these just have the bobbins, I think just have the numbers on them, and then these I don't know if she just had. Anyway, she was working on a bunch of different things. So she gave me her floss that she was using, and then a bunch of pieces of fabric, most of which have some stuff started on them. There was this chart that has some. This fabric that has some gray on it. And don't know what it was from. I don't have the chart that it was from, I don't think. And then this one is a Winnie the Pooh and Piglet design. I think these are all the different Winnie the Pooh characters, because I think this is Eeyore right here. And I have this booklet, because she gave me the booklet a long time ago, when she was kind of destashing. So I think I have the books that she had, or the charts or whatever. But anyway, I have this one for sure. And my niece was a big Winnie the Pooh. She loved Winnie the Pooh when she was little. She had a little stuffed Winnie the Pooh. And I think that's what my sister started this chart for. But it's very nicely done. And I have the colors. I think the bag of floss that I had last time, that I showed last time, that had a ring that had some colors on the ring. I think they were, in talking to my sister, she says she thinks that they were for this project. And I do have the book that this design was in. And then here, she did a lot of work on that she gave me the charts for a couple of one of the designs that I was using for my Ships Mania that I did for May last week. And this was her start on it. And she got a lot further than I got. And she used Krynic in these sails to give them a little sparkle. And in the waves down here, there's some Krynic also. So she got, like I said, she got a lot further than I did. She did the outline of all the sails, and she did the ship, and she did the masts and all that. She got a lot further than I did. I don't know how long she worked on it, but But then I have the chart because I started the chart also. So I don't know. I don't know what will become of that. Oh. But yeah. So there's that. And then this one just has words on it so far. It says, O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my downsitting and mine uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. Thou compassest, I can't say that word, my, and I think it's soul is the next word. Anyway, so that's another one that she started, and I don't know like what that's from, what chart that's from. And this one, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know which direction it goes. I don't know what that is. And I think this one is just blank. It's like a fiddler's cloth, but there's nothing on there. So, oh, sorry, I almost dropped that. So that's what she gave me, and then there's, I think, let me see if I got everything. Yeah, there's this little this kit. There's some fabric in here, and this is 14 count Ada, and some flosses. Little DMC bobbins in there, and this chart. And this is something that I did, this chart, but this one, I think I talked about this before. I did this chart using this, it was using the book of borders that I have, and again, alphabet, I don't know if I got this out of the alphabet book or if it's from a different chart I had that had an alphabet on it. Because this might have been from my alphabet book. And this, I don't think I came up with this originally. I think this might be taken from something else. I don't know. But it says, "My love, she is a kitten, and my heart's a ball of string." It's one of my favorite lines from it's from a poem. I read the poem on here actually several weeks ago. But anyway, so on the back there's like a little color key and some instructions for the back stitching and all that. But I think these are all I borrowed from other sources and put together. But so that was what that kit was. So I don't know. I think I want to eventually stitch this, but I might change it up and make the font smaller for the use a different font, make it smaller for the little poem thing. And I don't know what. Like I said, I can't imagine that I came up with those cats myself. It looks too clever for me, but but if they're borrowed from something, I don't know what they're from. Even the colors, they're not colors that I would think of, and especially as long ago as I did that, I would not have come up with that myself. So I have a few different cat things. So it might have come from there. I don't know, but I like it. So I may eventually do that. I don't know. But anyway, so those are all from my sister, and so I might eventually use any or all of them, those bits and pieces, to enhance my stash, as if I needed to. I already have more things than I could possibly ever stitch. But you know how it goes. That's the way things are for cross stitchers. You always have more stash than you could possibly ever get to. And there are a few things that I might consider destashing. Some time ago, maybe a year ago, there was something that I had. Oh, it was a big cross stitch of like a. Oh, it was very 90s. It was a hat and a basket with like flowers sitting on a table, and and the design called for like some. You were supposed to do the wallpaper behind the stitching. I think it was full coverage. If not full coverage, then it was done on a colored piece of cloth, and the color of the cloth was part of the background. I don't know. I remember. But I offered it on here on Flosstube some time ago, and sent it to someone. And in looking at my stash and thinking hard about it, there's at least one other one that I think that I might give away like that. That's partially done. And it was a kit that I bought somewhere a long time ago, probably at Hobby Lobby, years ago, and it's like a little. It's a pennant shaped. It's sewn already. Came in the kit sewn in a like a pointed like pendant shape, and it has a little metal hanger thing to hang it off of. It's ingredients for a happy home, and it has, anyway, it's very pretty, very blue, and I tried to work on it. I worked on it like a little bit, I think last year or year before sometime. I don't know if it was one of my, I don't think it was part of the Stitch 9 projects that I had, but I had some older whips, and I have like a decision roulette wheel where I have some older designs on there, and I had put it on there, and I tried to stitch on it a couple of times that I had, it had come up on my rotation or whatever, and I just found that I really am not that interested in it anymore. So and like I said, I think it's a kit, so I think I have all the threads in there, and so I might clean it up a little bit and organize it a little bit, and offer it to whoever might want it. And then I have another book that I might offer, that I will probably offer here, that I have to, like I said, look through all my stuff and see if those are the only things I want to offer right now. But it looks like they're things that I don't think I want to necessarily do myself. So anyway, yeah, so bringing in some stuff, getting rid of some stuff, and figuring out what I'm going to do as far as that's concerned. So anyway, I think that's it. And matter of fact, I had notes written down, and they fell. They fell down here. Hold on one second. Sorry. I had... Yeah, that's it. The only other thing I wanted to mention was the whole coronavirus thing. I'm not a panicky person, but we did go ahead and buy a few things because we thought, well, if worst comes to worst, if for some reason we have to do a self-quarantine thing or whatever, we want to have shelf-stable things, but we were like looking for things like, we thought, well, maybe some rice and things like that, and we have some. It's not like we don't have anything already, but we thought, oh, well, a package or two of rice. Well, we were at Sam's Club yesterday, and the rice was gone already, and the beans were gone already, the dried stuff like that. I don't know that I don't think we looked for pasta, but I don't remember seeing it either. But of course, the toilet paper was gone, and the funny thing was, there was a guy with actually, when we went, all the shopping carts were at, I don't think there were any in the little receptacle thing. You had to accost somebody in the parking lot and borrow their cart, take their cart and go, to find one, or get one from there were a couple in the cart corral things, but also they had like the big push carts that you use, like if you buy appliances or a big television or something like that. So that, they're low to the ground, and so people had groceries piled on them. The one guy I kept watching because I was afraid he was going to run over his daughter's foot, because she was a little girl, like 3 or 4, I guess, sitting on the edge of this big cart thing with her feet dangling over the side, and I thought, he's going to run over her. But there was one guy who was pushing one of those big carts like that, and he had it piled with the big bags, huge bags of Cheetos. And I mean, piled, like he had 20 or 30 bags of Cheetos. I don't know if he was gonna have a party, or if he was gonna live on Cheetos while he was quarantined or whatever. But yeah. But anyway, so we bought a few things, just like canned milk and things like that weren't gonna go bad, that we could keep in in the pantry, or whatever, indefinitely. And if we didn't have occasion to use them, if we didn't feel the need to use them right away, they're not going to go bad, and they could last, if there was some reason why we couldn't get out to a store or something like that. And the reason we were thinking about it was that my older sister drives for Uber, and so people are in and out of her car all the time. So even though she's, trying to make sure that, like, the Honda, she has a Honda van, and it has, like, at the driver's door, you can open the side doors of the van, to let people in and out. So she opens that so that people aren't, like, touching, buttons and handles and things like that. So she does that herself, so she can keep the germy hands to a minimum. And, but she's got strangers in and out of her car every day. And the problem is that my parents and I also ride in that car if we go somewhere, go to the store, go to church, go to wherever. And my parents are both in their, like, upper 80s, like 87-ish, 86, 87, something like that. And then, and I'm pushing 60. I'll be 60 in October. My older sister is 60. And so we're all in that sort of slightly older category, and we all have other various health issues. And so my older sister is asthmatic, and so she's kind of susceptible to chest, head cold, chest cold kind of things to begin with. And so it's just prudent for us as a family to be at least aware and to be prepared, and to, yeah, and, and like, getting, like, cat food and dog food and things like that, so that if there's some kind of, deal, that we can have those supplies as we need them. But, but other than that, we're still, going about our regular routine, and as long as we can, as long as things are available and whatever. So anyway, I was reminded in reading about everything. I saw this one. What do you call it? Message, I guess, whatever, about this girl who had. She went to a grocery store, and there was an older couple that had been sitting in their car for like 45 minutes, like trying to choose a person that they could trust, but they were afraid to go in the store. They were elderly, and they were afraid of the germs or whatever, to go in the grocery store. And so they handed this girl a list and a $100 bill, I guess, and asked them, would she go in there and buy these groceries for them. So she did, and the idea was that to take away from that was that that not everybody around you has people looking in on them, and people to check on them, and people to help them. If my parents were still up in Albuquerque, they lived alone by themselves up there, and they were, the lifeline for other people. But you wonder, well, who's checking on them? So having them here in Phoenix, where my sisters and I can, we can help take care of them or whatever. But not everybody has family like that, and so this is a good time, even though we're all social distancing and everything. But it's a good idea to check on your neighbors and your family that don't that maybe live alone or whatever, that you can make sure that they have what they need and that they're taking care of themselves and all that stuff. So anyway, gosh, this video is long. It's getting long. But so like I said, take care of everybody. Take care of yourselves and be safe and take normal precautions. And do what you feel you need to do in your community, depending on the level of don't touch your face, the level of infection in your area and what your politicians are telling you to do, your governors and mayors and things like that. I know my younger sister's daughter, my niece, is coming home from school, because her school in Boston is one that's sending kids home. Their spring break was coming up, and they're just sending them home for the rest of the semester. So that's going to be hard on her. But in a way, it's good, because if something would happen and she were to get sick, she'd be home with her parents, and her parents are going to take care of her. That sort of thing. So anyway, be safe out there, and I will see you next week. And it's a good opportunity to stay in and stitch, right? So, okay. I'll see you next time. Bye.